Your frequency determines what you frequently see. In other words, life is a boomerang. What you put out, you get back. So if you currently have bills piling up, or you're struggling in your health or relationships or in business, it's simply reflecting your internal state of being. Today, you are going to learn how to shift from the inside out so you can align your frequency to determine and get what you actually want in life. You can have financial freedom and abundance. You can have that loving, thriving relationship, dialed in health and a successful business. But life, everything in your life is always a reflection of your frequency. So let's dial in and get started. Manifesting isn't magic, it is mechanics. And I want you to understand all of the moving pieces and parts so that you can start consciously creating your reality instead of living by default. So let's start there. As I'm sharing here, your frequency determines what you frequently see. And this is in every area of life. This is where we could bring in the Hermetic principle of correspondence. As within, so without. And in order to get the external results you want, you have to be very mindful and intentional of how you are thinking and being, so you're emitting the frequency you want. So let's start there. Your frequency is made up of two things, and I talk about this often: your thoughts and your emotions. This is what creates your frequency. And these two things, your thoughts and emotions, create your electromagnetic field. So let's draw this out. Your thoughts and emotions create your field. And as I shared, life is a boomerang. What you put out, you get back. And here's where most people trip up. You have a misalignment. You might be thinking and wanting financial abundance and a loving relationship and success in your business, but you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, doubt, unworthy, or not enough. And that's what creates static. Think about, you're sending out a weak Wi-Fi signal. You're sending out noise because you lack alignment, and that's why you stay stuck. Or you're hustling harder and you're trying harder. That's manic manifesting. Let's pause there. I want you to think about it like this: white knuckling your way through life. When you are living in that static, when you have those low vibe states, stress, overwhelm, anxious, fear, doubt, worry, you're contracted. And think about that. When you're contracted, you're tight. There's no room to receive. In fact, you can't receive. You're repelling the thing you want because you're contracted. However, when we create alignment, which is what I'm going to help you do, when you create alignment with your thoughts and emotions, you now become expansive, your hands wide open, and now you can receive what you want. And this is all based on your energetic frequency, your vibration. In science, this is talked a lot about creating brain and heart coherence, simply meaning aligning your thoughts and emotions. So your thoughts, you can also think about this as your conscious mind. And that's only 5% of your mental programming, your thoughts. But your emotions are the fuel that magnetize what you experience in your life. And your emotions are directly related to the subconscious mind. This is 95% driving the show. Think about your subconscious mind as your operating system, and 95% is on autopilot, running without your conscious awareness. So in order to break the cycle, to break 95% running on default and autopilot, you have to start being mindful and intentional every day. So what I'm going to walk you through today is what I call my generate method, because really what this is all about is you generate a frequency, you generate a vibration via your thoughts and emotions. What you put out, you get back. But I want to help you generate aligned frequency so you can have financial abundance, love, success, health, wealth, experiences, whatever it is you want in your life. This is all about an energetics game. And once you understand all the moving pieces and the mechanics of not only you, but the quantum field and how manifestation works, then you manifest with ease. So let's get back to this. It's your thoughts and emotions that are putting out your electromagnetic field. You are a magnet. What you put out, you get back. But what happens is the misalignment, the mismatch. So if your thoughts and emotions are not congruent, they're not in alignment, that is the weak signal. That's when you're putting out noise. And let's just name what misalignment looks like. When you're living in stress, because let's talk about the nervous system next. So when you're living in stress, fear, doubt, as I shared, feeling unworthy, not enough, these lower vibe emotional states are repelling. So in order to get in alignment, let's start here. You have to have a regulated nervous system. So let's just think about it like this. Anytime you are struggling and efforting and hustling and working really hard, you have a dysregulated nervous system. It creates a lot of internal resistance and chaos, and you can't manifest what you want because you have an incoherent signal because you're dysregulated. And you know what this feels like. Maybe it's tightness in your chest, you have that mental chatter, you have stress, maybe you're not sleeping at night, you're feeling anxious. All of this is what's creating the noise internally, and again, you're sending out mixed signals. So the first step is always, now let's get into the generate method. The first step is always, you have to regulate your nervous system. So think about your nervous system as like the power structure. And if you have all this noise going on, it's like tripping the breakers, creating all of this misalignment and distraction and chaos and frustration in your life. So let's talk about this generate method and why you have to regulate your nervous system first before you do anything else. Otherwise, you get stuck, and been there, done that. You get into manic manifesting. And when you're trying really hard, remember, you're white knuckling, you're contracting your way through life. And either you're never going to get it, or you're going to work so hard, and which leads to stress and burnout, and that's just the hard way of doing it. So now let's bring in this generate method, because remember, you create a frequency, and whatever you emit, whatever you broadcast is what you're going to experience in your life. So there's no judgment here. Don't beat yourself up, but this is about awareness. The first step to creating your change in your life is always awareness. But now let's talk about how to stop creating that internal resistance so you can manifest with ease. Now, this is where I want to bring in this framework, generate. And so, for example, let's say you've tried affirmations and you are affirming, I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am abundant, I am free, I am successful. But if you're not getting desired results, it's because, like we shared about that mismanagement, you might be affirming with your conscious mind 5%, but you're feeling stressed or unworthy or doubt or fear, which that's why affirmations on their own will never work, because you're only using 5% of the picture. I want to help you bring the alignment with your conscious and subconscious so you are using 100% of your power. So now let's talk about this idea of the generate method, because that's exactly what's happening every single day. Whether you're living your life by design or by default, you are generating and emitting frequency. You are broadcasting every moment of every day. So now it's about being mindful and intentional so you are generating what you want. If this is new and you want to fast track where you are to the life you could be living and close this gap, this is exactly what I coach my clients through, the idea of identity shifting and how to create version 2.0. To learn more and apply, click on the link below or visit my website, heatherhakes.com. Another way of saying this is your identity is creating your reality. And that's why in order to change your life, you have to change first. Think rewiring your mind, rewiring your identity to upgrade your life. So this idea of the generate method, the first step is about getting into state. So let me write that down. Get into state. Because your identity creates your reality. So state is the first thing to do. Now, I highly recommend bookending your day. This is morning and evening practices so that you stay mindful and intentional. So for example, first thing in the morning, whether you want to do movement, breath work, meditation, you are aligning and getting into state, aligning the conscious and the subconscious, aligning your thoughts and emotions. So getting really clear on the end desire you want, more money, that thriving relationship, success in business, whatever it is you want, State first, state before strategy, state before taking action. This is always the first step, because if you don't do this first and you're coming from that noisy, distracted, incoherent state, you're wasting your time and you're going to work really hard. So getting into state. Now, what I talked about here, you could do this through meditation, movement, breath work, etc. But the point is, remember I talked about you have to regulate your nervous system first. When you regulate your nervous system by getting into state, this is creating calm. And what it really is creating presence. Because anytime you're anxious or stressed, it normally has to do with future tripping or dwelling on the past, what was. But when you become present, you bring all your power source back to you. So this is the first step always. You have to get into state. These are ways that you can do it. And now from this state, let's talk about the next steps. The next one is about embody the end. Now this is not fake it till you make it. This is embodying it, the energetic frequency of already having. Why? Your mind, your brain does not know the difference between imagination and reality. So when you are thinking about and speaking about and moving from as though it's already yours. For example, let's say you could time travel. Let's say you could time travel to a week ahead or 6 months or whatever it is for you, and everything worked out and even better than you expected. How would you show up today? You wouldn't be stressed. You wouldn't be in fear, you wouldn't be in doubt, you wouldn't be overwhelmed. You would have gratitude, you would feel empowered, you would have confidence and certainty. So you have to embody the end now. You have to be the version of you in your desired reality now. Here's why. If you really want to get into some quantum physics, and I have done other videos on this, so I highly recommend go back and watch those other videos. But when we get to the quantum physics side of this, and remember, manifesting is not magic, it is mechanics. We are talking all about the identity piece, but you have to also understand the quantum field. So embody the end. Creation is finished. You are not creating those desires and manifestations and conditions you want. They already exist. You are generating the frequency in the identity of that person. So you are being it now, and that's how you collapse those wave functions into particles. This is quantum physics. This is the observer effect. All potentials already exist. $1 million version of you already exists. That a version of you in that loving, thriving relationship, maybe you want children, maybe you want a big home, maybe you want whatever, already exists. The fact that you can even imagine it means that you can experience it, but let's put all these steps into play. So that's what I want you to know. Creation is finished. You have to embody the end, not fake it till you make it. Embody these aligned frequencies, thinking and feeling from the end until you experience it. And this is why you have to have certainty and conviction. Be like the gardener in your life. You are planting the seed and you are fertilizing it with sunlight and water, and you know you will harvest because you've put in the work. And your work is the who and the what you want. All right, next one is all about nurture the feeling. Here's what I mean by this. Remember when I said you have to have your thoughts and emotions in alignment, and emotions are the fuel. Why? Your subconscious mind, 95% driving you, its language are emotions and feelings. So what you put out, you are fueling the fire. But when you are thinking and feeling in tandem, you become a vibrational match to what it is that you want. So in this process, getting into state, embodying the end, because that's really thinking and feeling. This is the identity piece. Now we are nurturing the feeling. We are giving it fuel. We're feeling it in the body because that is the language of the subconscious mind. All right, let's move on. Next is about entering the imaginal state. What does this mean? Pro athletes do this. This is about mental rehearsal. As I said, your mind does not know the difference between imagination and reality. And when you're mentally rehearsing and you create a sensory, vivid, detailed experience, driving that car with your hands around the steering wheel, or maybe walking down the beach with your person in hand, you have to have that sensory experience. Your mind doesn't know the difference. And this is all building blocks on how you generate that aligned frequency. And I'm telling you, when you put this into play, manifesting can happen quickly and easily, and it should. And when it's not, it means you've created internal resistance, you have incoherence, you have noise and static. Enter the imaginal state. Spend, even if it's a few minutes in the morning, mentally rehearsing and feeling the scene. Whatever that is for you, whatever your desire is, you have to mentally rehearse, enter the scene. All right, here's the big one. R, this is about reprogram through repetition. Why? Let's talk more about the subconscious mind here. Because remember, the subconscious mind is 95% driving the show. Let's talk about how the subconscious is formed and how you have the power to rewire it. And again, this is what I coach my clients through on how to rewire the subconscious so this becomes your new default mode. Manifesting with ease, generating aligned frequencies. This is the power you naturally have. So reprogram with repetition. Your subconscious mind is formed from birth up until age 7. Why? You are primarily in theta brainwave state. Theta brainwave state is self-hypnosis. So for example, maybe you've heard about subconscious reprogramming or listening to tapes and different things at night, which can be useful, but again, it requires repetition. But the point of those subliminal reprogramming audios are you're in theta brainwave state. So let's draw it out. Here's how theta brainwave state looks like. This is your mind. This is the conscious. This is the subconscious. This line right here, this is your analytical, logical mind. Now, when you're outside of theta brainwave state, when you're in beta, when you're in alpha, when you're functioning about your day, this access to your subconscious mind, think about it like it's closed because you're not in theta, you're not in self-hypnosis. However, there are 2 prime opportunities every single day when you are naturally in theta brainwave state, when you can reprogram with repetition the subconscious. This is the identity piece. This is rewiring that thinking and feeling the abundant version of you, the healthy version of you, the successful version of you, etc. So how you do this is in theta brainwave state, first thing in the morning and again before bed. This is when you get to, using your conscious mind, impress on the subconscious what you want to express in reality. So it's all about reprogramming through repetition. This really has to becoming a conscious creator of your life becomes a lifestyle. Just like going to the gym, you don't go and do reps one time and your biceps are set for life. This is about the daily reps, putting in the daily work, reprogramming, because if you're not being mindful and intentional with how you show up each day, you will always default back to your autopilot programming. And as I shared, this is formed in your early years when your analytical, logical mind is not formed. That's why we repeat cycles. If mom and dad struggled with money or with their health or with the relationship, that's what you learned and that's what you're going to experience. But what I'm sharing with, no matter what was programmed into you in those early years and even in past experiences in your teens and 20s and 30s and on, you can override what's in there so that the 95% is what you want. All right, now we can talk about strategy and actions. A is all about align your actions. So do you see how this is like at the bottom of the list? We're not taking actions until all of these are in place. Your state, embodying the end. This is really nurturing your frequency. And then let's talk about taking aligned actions. Again, when you're hustling and grinding, when you're trying and efforting, that's not aligned actions. That's coming from a very low vibe frequency, going to give you unwanted results. But when you take aligned actions, when you are consistent, maybe that inspired email you send, or you, for whatever reason, you feel like, all right, I'm gonna go work remote today, and you happen to meet someone, the exact person you needed. You have to be taking aligned actions. Remember, thinking, speaking, moving as embodying the end, because these are all the moving pieces. Your thoughts, your emotions, and your habits create your results. All right, this is a big one. You have to trust the unfolding. Here's a metaphor or an idea I bring into play here, because detaching from the outcome is difficult for many people, right? You're white knuckling your way through life. You want to control every move, but that's becoming from, remember, one, it's very white knuckling. You're contracted, but it's coming from a limited perspective. So trust the unfolding. Detaching is simply letting go of control. Like, let it be easier than you could have imagined. Let it be better than you could have imagined. And how you do this is through certainty and conviction. Just like a gardener, you've already planted the seed. You've already fertilized it. You are trusting it's going to grow. So here's what I do. I like to think about this idea of manifesting as placing an order on Amazon. You go in the search bar, you type what you want, you find what you want, and you place your order. You detach from who's going to ship it, how long is it going to take. Sometimes it's same day, next day, 2 days. Sometimes it gets delayed. But you've detached, you're not stressed, you're not micromanaging the how. And that's what I'm telling you, you have to do. Let go. Let go of the flow. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Let it surprise you. So you have to trust the unfolding. So let's bring this all together now. You have to elevate daily. Again, what I shared is this is about, it has to become your lifestyle. This has to become your way of being, how you think and feel it. It's who you are. You don't attract what you want in your life. You only attract who you are being. This is all about identity. And who you are being creates your frequency, and your frequency becomes what you frequently see. Let me know what questions you have around this. Please drop them below. And the biggest thing here is knowledge alone is not power. Application is, implementation. You need to integrate everything I just walked you through. I just walked you through a masterclass on not only quantum physics, but really this idea of manifesting, so you can get out of your own way. Thanks for tuning in to today's video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you're the first to know when new videos drop, and give me a thumbs up. I'll catch you on the next one.